So, welcome everyone to the first session of the Leading Well Manager Supervisor Wellness Series. We are so excited that you have taken the time to join us, to learn strategies, ideas to better support those that work for you. I am Megan Amaya, Director of Health Promotion, and I'll be introducing Bern Melnick here in just a moment. The purpose of this webinar series is to provide all of you, managers and supervisors, with self-care strategies as well as best practices to help you better support those that work for you on their personal health and wellness journeys. We're going to showcase the winners of our 2020 Buckeye Wellness Manager Supervisor Awards, and they're going to share ways in which they support their staff, both in person and in the virtual environment that we find ourselves in. As a thank you for tuning into this series, if you attend all 3 sessions, you're going to be invited to attend what is our 7-week virtual health athlete class. Bern is going to talk a little bit more on health athlete, but in essence, it's one of our pillar CWO programs focused on energy management, and we are pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. We are captioning this whole series, so you'll be able to view the transcript or the closed captioning below. So it's just at the bottom of your screen, the CC button in your Zoom menu, and you can click on that to get the transcriptions today. So now on to our terrific content. I am very proud to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Bern Melnick. All of you, or many of you, know her as the University Chief Wellness Officer and Vice President for Health Promotion. For almost 10 years, she has been leading health and wellness across our university, creating a culture of wellness for faculty, staff, and students, one that makes healthy choices the easier choices. Bern has been a champion of wellness at so many levels of our organization: leadership, grassroots, clinicians, classroom, academic programming, and with all of you as managers and supervisors. She's going to be presenting concepts, ideas, and strategies that will enable you to play a key role in the lives of your team members and, for you, better health. You are critical to the success of our wellness program and in so many of the lives around our university. Bern, we are grateful you are launching our series, and thank you so much for all you do for wellness. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Megan, and my wonderful wellness team. Hi, everybody. I'm so delighted to kick off this series. And we're going to start with a dose of vitamin G for gratitude. It is one of the most powerful evidence-based intervention strategies that you can use daily with your teams. So if all of you would take 5 seconds and write in our chat box who or what you're grateful for today, I really appreciate that. I am grateful for each one of you that you have committed to this series, because as Megan pointed out, you are so key to our entire wellness initiative. Now, to stay alert and decrease our cardiovascular risk, if you're sitting now, I'd like you all to stand up for a decent portion of my talk. To know but not to do is really not to know. And we as leaders for this organization, we have got to walk the talk. So again, please stand. You're going to realize how much more energy you have if you stand more and sit less. So wellness is the optimal state of living well, regardless of where you're at on the wellness to illness continuum. We at Ohio State are committed to the 9 dimensions of wellness. Susan Neal assisted me with writing this 9 dimensions of wellness book, and we will make sure you all have the link to the book. But I'm starting this series with you and your personal health and well-being, because we can't not do a great job unless we pay attention to our own self-care. COVID is triggering many mental health problems, as well as unhealthy lifestyle behaviors. If that's happening to you, you are not alone. 1 out of 3 adults right now throughout the country are struggling with anxiety or depression. And people have attempted to cope with COVID by increasing alcohol use, decreasing physical activity, and eating more unhealthy. I don't know if you saw the news today, but a study came out to document the weight gain that has been experienced during COVID-19. I also think, as a supervisor or manager, it is so critical to be aware of our own level of burnout. So I want you to take a look at this slide, and based on your definition of burnout, how would you rate your level of burnout right this minute? If you have the pleasure of answering 1, I applaud you. That's great. If you answered 2, your energy is starting to drop a little. I would say you've got to emphasize a little more your own self-care. But if you're following into the number 3, 4, or 5 category, it is super important that you begin to prioritize your own self-care. Because if we don't take time for our own self-care today, we will have to take the time when chronic disease strikes us later. If we as leaders are burning out, the effects of that burnout are going to be felt by our teams. And too much stress, anxiety, or depression can begin to start interfering with our concentration, our judgment, or our functioning. It is not embarrassing. It is not selfish. It is not a weakness to say, I've got to stop and take care of myself. Please, everybody, If you're experiencing symptoms that interfere with your functioning, please get some help. Talk to your primary care provider. Call our terrific employee assistance program. We are all eligible with our benefits to get 5 free counseling sessions. Again, it's a strength when we recognize and we seek help. So in August and in December, we randomly selected faculty, staff, and students to participate in our university-wide survey. And as you'll see on this slide, in August, 25% of faculty and 29% of our staff screened positive for anxiety. In December, it slightly decreased to 22% in faculty and 27% in staff. In August, 7% of our faculty and 10% of our staff screened positive for depression. In December, those percentages increased to 9 and 11%. Because we have approximately 40,000 faculty and staff, these significant percentages show that anxiety and depression is affecting a substantial portion of our faculty and staff. So when any of your team you notice looks burnt out or depressed, one of the simplest things you can say to them, are you okay? And is there anything that I can do to help? Burnout in our faculty and staff is pretty high right now, nearly 40%. But in our students, it's 71%. So again, we've got to be in tune to the people on our teams, and we as leaders need to zero in on really helping our faculty, our staff, take micro recovery breaks during the day. The best way to get our people to do that is for us to role model and make it known that we are also attending to our own self-care. So when COVID hit us, hard to believe, over a year ago now, I developed an acronym of evidence-based strategies that could help people cope with the pandemic. Those strategies that you see on the slide are still and will be relevant for years to come. Control the things we can, not the things we can't. Open up. Share your feelings, your frustrations, your sadness with somebody else you can trust. But practice daily stress reduction tactics. Physical activity is a fabulous stress reducer. Even 11 minutes a day has great heart benefit, brain benefit, and stress reduction benefit. If you all just make it a habit of cutting 60-minute meetings to 50 minutes, you would have at least 3 10-minute breaks a day for some self-care. Mindfulness is powerful. Worry and guilt are the two most wasted emotions. So when you find yourself worrying, bring yourself back to the present moment. Look from left to right, taking in, what are you seeing, feeling, hearing, experiencing? Count your blessings daily. Take that dose of vitamin G every single morning. And when you experience stress, frustration, anger, depression, stop and say to yourself, what was I just thinking? Chances are it was a negative thought. So catch those negative thoughts. Check them by saying, is that thought really true? Is it helpful? Do I have the evidence to back it up? Chances are the answer will be no. So then change that negative thought to positive, to feel emotionally better. Volunteerism can so help our moods. We've got to continue to identify and use all the fantastic supports, programs we have at the university. And lastly, we have to do our part to continue to prevent the spread of COVID. Our team developed a fabulous resource for you and your teams, the Safe and Healthy.osu.edu website. In there is a guide to improve mental health and well-being. I highly encourage you, look at that guide. Use the guide to help yourself and your teams. As supervisors, managers, leaders for our organization, remember, you cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. So please niche out a little bit of time every single day to do something that improves your health and well-being. Well, cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer of Americans, but considering all causes of death and disease in the United States, it's truly our behaviors that are our #1 killer. That's awesome news because behaviors are under our control. The not so good news, it's character building. It's tough to change our behavior, and it takes at least 30 to 60 days of consistent practice to make that behavior change. We make choices every single day. Choices to take an elevator instead of the steps. Choices to sit while we watch TV instead of, I'm going to stand and I'm going to use my exercise band while I watch news or my favorite TV show. Or when I go to park at the store, I'm in a park further away, so I can get my 10,000 steps in a day. A group of psychologists actually observed how many people chose to take the steps into the escalator to go work out at this gym in California. What they found, only 2 people a day took the steps. Now, I know many of you have heard me give you this simple formula, but it's backed by research data. All we need to do in ourselves and get everybody in our teams to just engage in these behaviors to see this huge reduction in chronic disease. 1 out of 4 people in the United States have multiple chronic conditions. 1 out of 2 have a chronic disease. Yet 80% of chronic disease is totally preventable with just these behaviors. 30 minutes, 5 days a week of activity. Just get up and move. Cut your meetings down so you have time to take a walk, jump up and down, dance, whatever you like to do. 5 fruits and veggies a day. The average American only eats 2. I get 5 in for breakfast every morning with my smoothie. It's an easy way to get these important fruits and veggies in. Don't smoke. If you don't drink alcohol, don't start. But if you do, it's really important to limit it to 1 drink a day. Put 7 hours of sleep on top of that and daily stress reduction, and we could reduce the rate of chronic disease even more. Well, everybody then asked me, Bern, how big can that drink be? And I answered, not the size of the alcoholic beverages we get in Vegas. So today can be your January 1. Please don't wait till next January to commit to a 30-day goal. Do it today. If you only exercise 10 minutes twice a week, up it, write it down. I, Bern Melnick, am going to exercise 15 minutes twice a week. Put it where you can see it every day, because visual triggers do motivate us to do the behavior. Well, if you're like a lot of other people that I know, or like myself 30 years ago, when I used to say, I don't have time, I want you to watch this video because all of us have the same amount of time every day. It's priorities that are important.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's 1 jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years, 5,475 days. which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities, and another 720 days will go to community activities like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
I absolutely love that clip because it really does make you do some good self-reflection. Unfortunately, most people don't change their behaviors until it's too late. Crisis happens or disease develops. We have got to take the time to not only take good self-care, but encourage our teams to do the same. Well, my mother stroked out and died suddenly in front of me when I was 15 years of age. You can imagine how traumatic that was. But she had just seen her physician a week before she died, was diagnosed with high blood pressure, given a prescription for a blood pressure medication that my dad found in her purse after she died. She didn't take it. I think you can understand why I'm so passionate about helping our Buckeye family to lead healthy behaviors and lives. So when I don't feel like being physically active, eating healthy, I put my beautiful family in front of me because I didn't have a mom to watch me graduate from high school, college, go on to have my 3 beautiful daughters. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for the people who love you, who want you to be around for a really long time. So now I'm going to turn direction from you to workplace wellness. Why does Ohio State invest the amount of dollars it does every year in the health and well-being of Buckeyes? First and foremost, because we care about our Buckeye family. The workplace has a huge impact on our health and happiness. A recent Gallup poll survey, though, found 2/3 of Americans had too much on-the-job stress. Workplace dissatisfaction costs the United States $300 billion a year in lost productivity. And sadly, only a third of employees report they're engaged with their jobs. Think about this. If your people, if you are happy and healthy, you're going to be so much more engaged and productive. We have so many studies that support the positive relationship between wellness and productivity. So organizations are investing in wellness all throughout this country because they have learned that for every dollar they invest, they usually get a return on investment of $2 to $4 in reduced healthcare costs, higher engagement, improved productivity, and lower absenteeism. So at Ohio State, we have moved from just looking at return on investment to value of investment. And that includes people having a higher quality of life, people being more productive at work. So we've got a big dream here at Ohio State, and we are so serious about it. Our dream is to be the healthiest university and community on the globe. We exist, our university-wide wellness team, to facilitate the highest levels of wellness for our faculty, staff, and students across the university. In 2019, I presented our new 5-year strategic plan to our board of trustees, who enthusiastically endorsed it. We have 4 very important goals, and you are key to us accomplishing these goals. You are key to helping us create a wonderful culture that makes healthy behaviors the default, the norm in our system. You are key to helping us to get your teams engaged in all the fabulous wellness programming that we offer. So as you can see on this slide, we've got a huge wellness team, and we are structured with a one university health and wellness council. Leaders from all of these entities sit together every month. We look at data, our outcomes, the best evidence-based interventions, and we plan strategy. We have a philosophy, and that is in God we trust, but everybody else better bring data to the table. We adopted the socio-ecological framework. So we target our evidence-based interventions to individuals in the grassroots, the family and social networks, the workplace ecosystem and culture, and then policy. And we constantly monitor outcomes. Again, you are key for our culture, because culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We could have the best strategic plan in the whole wide world, But if we don't have a great wellness culture, behaviors are not going to sustain. We know, based on research, these things are what works. A comprehensive culture, an environment of health and wellness, leader and middle manager, role modeling and support, grassroots initiatives that help build a culture. Our Buckeye Wellness Innovators, some of you may be a BWI. And if you aren't, please consider becoming one and helping us build this awesome wellness culture. Visual triggers at decision points work too. But if you look at all the research, the implementation tactics of the most successful organizations include that our senior leaders are committed. They walk the talk. We have a comprehensive strategy. We engage managers and supervisors as role models. We really focus on reducing employee stress. We establish metrics, measure those outcomes, because once we know what the outcomes are, we can target those outcomes that need improved. And frequent communication to engage employees is so important. I don't know how many of you have read The Blue Zones of Happiness, but Dan Buettner actually traveled the world looking for where were the happiest places in the whole wide world and why were the people so happy. What it boiled down to in those 5 spots across the world is the people living in those spots had purpose, passion, and pride in what they do. It gets back to your dreams, your purpose, your passion. And are you aligned with them? Because if you are, you're going to wake up on Monday morning, jump out of bed and say, I'm so excited to go to work today. It's when we get out of alignment with our purpose and our passion that we start to burn out. We start to get fatigued. We get disengaged. In fact, we know people who have a sense of purpose in their life live up to 7 years longer than people who don't. So if you can help your people really have a good sense of purpose and passion at work, it's going to go a long way. This is a workplace blueprint for happiness. Make at least one best friend at work. The more, the better. Seek a job that's in alignment with your purpose, your passion, your strengths. Consider your work hours. In Senior Management Council a couple weeks ago, I asked our leaders, how many of you are over on your vacation hours? And I think almost everybody put up their hands. And I said, please, that's what we have vacation for. You've got to detach. You've got to get away from Zoom and email. So please, role model the ability to get away from work. And then Take time every day for these micro recovery breaks. Set quarterly or monthly goals with your teams. How are you going to incorporate these micro recovery breaks into your day? We have got to make our tactics engaging, evidence-based, and fun. There's no sin to having fun at work. Humor so helps to relieve stress. Well, we have a huge menu of options and wellness programs for people to take advantage of. Participate in our wellness challenges. We have so many fun challenges, and I can't wait to get back to normal so that we can engage on site with the wonderful challenges that we offer. But if you as supervisors and managers lead by example and put out emails to your team, we see this Buckeye Wellness Challenge is coming up. Let's have a team. I'm going to take the time to be part of that team. Will go a long way. Help people get engaged with your plan for health. It is powered by Virgin Pulse, and there's all sorts of apps, programs that can help people reduce their stress. We have been running this health athlete energy management program now for about 8 years at Ohio State. We've put through over 2,000 people now. You have the opportunity to attend this virtual health athlete program. You will not regret it. The outcomes are fabulous. We have data that shows the more you engage, the more your people engage in our programs, the better outcomes, the better is their health and well-being. So as a supervisor or manager, you want to be enthusiastically encouraging your folks to participate in all of these wonderful programs that we have available. Evidence also supports visual triggers like this at an elevator can spark behavior change. There's a lot of these fabulous downloadable posters at this particular website. Our Buckeye Wellness Innovators are our force in the grassroots across the university and med center. And my Buckeye Wellness team has the privilege of working closely with our BWIs to really help them create cultures of wellness in their units. So I'm going to end my talk by encouraging you to encourage your people to join our Mask On, Mood Up movement. Every time you put on that mask, we're asking people to do 3 evidence-based behavior tactics. Take 3 deep abdominal breaths using the 5-7-8 method. Breathe in, count to 5, hold it for a count of 7, breathe out for a count of 8. That technique disrupts the sympathetic nervous system, lowers heart rate, lowers blood pressure. Be kind to yourself. Pick a self-statement. Say it out loud 10 times. It helps to rewire the brain. My favorite statement, I'm too blessed to be stressed. And then lastly, Be kind to others. Take that dose of vitamin G every time you put on a mask. Turn around and tell somebody that day why you're grateful for them. Gratitude and appreciation of our teams works better than even raises. People need gratitude and they need appreciation. So if you can encourage when you start your meetings, like I did today, let's start with a dose of vitamin G, and you practice that every day. You are going to experience and your team so many of these wonderful benefits. I hope you're tuning in to our Stay Well and Calm series that we offer on Wellness Wednesdays. All of these lectures with skills building activities are recorded, and I'd encourage you, maybe pick one a week for the next so many weeks and say to your teams, let's listen to one of these and come back and have a 5-minute debrief about the skills. We track all of these outcomes very diligently. I go around and make about 40 presentations every year to the deans, the vice presidents, and their executive teams. I show them their health productivity index score, which is based on the 10 leading health indicators, such as blood pressure, stress, depression, hemoglobin A1C, alcohol use. And I am able, in a de-identified aggregate way, tell these leaders, these are the things that are pulling your unit scores down. You may be doing great with your hemoglobin A1C, your blood pressure control, but your people's stress and depression are pulling your score down. Then our alignment team goes in and works with that unit to get those scores improved. Well, Gene Smith, who's a wonderful friend of mine and colleague, he's a leader who really walks the talk with his people. I walked in his office one day, and this is where I found him, at his standing desk. So I'm going to finish my talk by saying an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We would never send divers into a deep ocean without an oxygen tank. We cannot send our people throughout life without giving them the evidence-based skills that we know will protect them from chronic disease, will enhance their physical and mental well-being. And if I couldn't motivate you enough, I'm going to end with this little girl who will absolutely motivate you. Keep dreaming, discovering, delivering health and wellness for yourself and your teams. Just do it.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true. Just do it! Some people dreamers are obsessed. And you're going to wake up and we're going to work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to a point where anyone else will quit. And you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it.
I just love that. And I'm so happy you tuned in today, and get ready for 2 more weeks of fabulous content. So Megan, I think I'll leave it up to you to wrap it up.
Thank you, Bird. What terrific information. We so appreciated it. So I'm just going to quickly close with a couple of talking points, and then a few of you posted some questions in the chat box. So if you need to pop off, that's totally fine, but we want to try to get to the chat box on just a few questions. So if you ask those questions and you can stay on for a moment or two, please do that. But just in summary, again, we so appreciate you, what you presented on today, and also your commitment to this university. A lot of us are Buckeyes from generations past, and so we truly appreciate all you've done. And you are a Buckeye just as much as all of us, but for those of us that live here, work here, and our hearts are here, we are truly appreciative of all you've done. So as part of the webinar series, everyone, within the next 24 hours, you're going to receive an email from me. There will be a link to the recording of this. We'll also post this on the website. We have a little bit of a behavior assessment that you can do. It's just for you, but just to get you thinking about some things. A PDF of the slide deck. And then there's a video, like a 9-minute YouTube video on behavior change that I'm going to have you all, I'm going to give to you all. And I'm also trying to search her Burns smoothie recipe, because I know we had it in our College of Nursing magazine many years ago, and I cannot find it. So I'm going to try to include Burns smoothie recipe. If it doesn't get in this week, then I'll do it again next week, but I'm hunting for it right now. And as Bern was mentioning, it's just that small, tweak that we can make in our behaviors that can really add up to big health benefits and changes. So we're going to encourage you to look at, maybe choose one small, healthy lifestyle behavior and work on it for the next week and track some of that stuff. So that'll be in my email tomorrow. And then next week, we're going to be joined by Laura Peterson, who is the manager of the OSU Health Plan's health coaching program. She's going to spend some time talking about what she's done for her staff, especially because they've been working remotely, but maybe some stuff that they were doing before COVID about this time last year. And then we're going to have some group discussions and some engaging conversations. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here same time, same place. So have a great week, everyone. Look for my email. And then those of you who did ask questions, just hang on if you are able to. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Bern.
Go Buckeyes.